Thank you. And hear us, so.
I'll call the meeting, notice of meeting for Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022. This meeting is open meeting and notice has been given to the public at least 24 hours prior to the meeting by forwarding the complete agenda to the Oconto County Reporter. Copies of the complete agenda were available for inspection at the office of the city administrator. 6 p.m. public hearing on proposed 2023 budget. Notice is hereby given. There will be a public hearing before the Common Council on Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022 at 6 p.m. at City Hall in the council chambers, 1210 Main Street, Oconto, Wisconsin. The agenda for the public hearing will be as follows. Public input on the proposed 2023 budget. Any and all persons for or against will be heard. Meeting, following the meeting.
Oh, you can stop there.
Okay.
We'll do that at the meeting.
Okay, I'll move right on to public input. The way this happens, you please stand up. You get 5 minutes, one time.
Public input for the budget.
This is the budget. The budget.
Yep.
Okay, what happens is you get one time to speak for 5 minutes. You can utilize somebody else's time if they consent to it. So do we have any public input on the budget? Amy?
Yeah, I just have public input from the library. We're just asking that when you guys talk about the increasing the health insurance plan deductible, that you keep it as low as possible, because with the cut in the budget, and then even if we're able to give everybody a 2% increase, with that increase in the insurance deductible, we're pretty much taking money away. It would be almost a negative salary increase. And I think with trying to retain good people and giving them good benefits and being a place that you want to work, I think that that would be a step in the wrong direction. And I know it's a tight budget and you guys have to make some tight decisions, but I respectfully ask that that be something that you do not do at this time with already having to change insurances and things like that. I think we're going to have enough upheaval without having to raise the deductible.
Thank you.
That's my input.
Do we have any additional public input? Vicki?
Yes. Victoria Boston, 224 3rd Street. I just wanted to say to the council and everyone who has worked in this budget, very, very difficult this year, very difficult. But you managed to get it down quite a bit, and you should be commended on that. At the same time, this will be a very hard thing for most people in the city, very hard to accept, very hard on their own budgets with the way everything is right now in the country, how everything has raised. Also this year, the people will be facing a $35 charge for recycling, which was never done before, where everything is at recycling. Also, the garbage rates are now going up, which they never have as far as I know. And that is something else they have to face. And of course, probably what I want to get around to are the rates at the harbor regarding our residents and our non-residents. And I would hopefully ask that you look at this again. I realize the ship has sailed on the $5 to $7 charge. County, I spoke to the county, and yes, they did include that in their budget. So you are on the same page right now with the county. It's going to be a difficult transition for everyone going out to any of these launching places, because they weren't told about it ahead of time, which would have been nice to have a year to do that. However, this is what both governments have chosen, so this is where it's at. I still though, again, hope you look at the resident and non-resident launching passes for the season. The county is going from 40 to 50. So that's still below what right now you are looking at. When you raised from 35 to 55 for the resident, and when you went from 40 to 75 for non-resident. What I was told by the county, the reason they decided to go with it this year instead of next year is because their facilities would not be able to handle the influx of fishermen, boaters, all boaters, who would be coming because of this race that the city was doing. So that's why they jumped on board this year rather than doing it next year. The same holds true for those with the season passes. So there's still going to be a problem here. I plan to speak with you during the meeting regarding this subject. And as I already mentioned, I'm hoping that from what I present to you, that you will look at this again. Thank you.
Okay, is there any additional public input? Any additional public input? Okay, I need a motion to close the budget meeting. John, second by Butch. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Immediately following the meeting of the regular council in the council chambers with the following agenda. Meeting called to order. Roll call.
Mayor Panetti,
Here.
Butch Melver,
Here.
Steve Stock,
Here.
John Wickoff,
Here.
Patsy Bake, Jean Feld,
Here.
Bob LeBrecq is excused, Attorney Calvert.
Number 3, invocation and pledge of allegiance by Alderperson Steve Stock.
Dear Lord, guide us over tonight as we move our community forward with the decisions that we have to make. Keep us strong in all areas. Also, I'd like to pray for all the violence and things that are going on in our world, and pray that for world peace. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4, approval of the agenda. Second by Stock. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passed. Approval of the minutes as presented from city council and any special council meetings. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Correspondence. We have any correspondence tonight? Okay, item number 7, public input.
My name is Carl Pastor. I'm the secretary in PR for Oconto County Veterans Memorial. We're trying to build an account. This is the members of part of our members of our committee. We're here to ask you to talk to you about the candy was set up City Park. We did some research. We know they got here in the 1920s. The county was from Broadband. You got it from the government. It's owned by the government still, but the city, they give it to the city. They used to sit downtown on Main Street. They moved out there. We'd like to, see if you're willing to take it and put it with the memorial. Because the memorial building is going to honor every veteran that's ever served in Oconto County. All their names will be on the wall for free. And the tank that the Legion kindly said we can have it there, we'll maintain it for the history of about the tank. We'll do the same thing with the cannon. Put a fence around it, insurance, information about the tank, about the cannon. Make sure it stays right where it's at, but it's still belongs to the city. We're just there taking care of it. Where it's sitting at now, not many people see it. Kids play on it. I've not ever seen kids playing on it. That could be a liability if someone falls, gets hurt on it. It's up to the city. But we have it there to be under our insurance, taking care of it, and our liability at the memorial. We'll have a maintenance person that goes around and takes care of everything at the memorial once we get it built. So we're asking we can have it there. It represents World War I, the tank is World War II. It represents all our soldiers that went overseas and fought and died, come back injured. It represents the people that stayed behind and did the work in the offices. They keep things going for every veteran, every family. This is honoring them, and it's an honor for that cannon to be up there. More people will come and see it. We have it advertised, we put it in the memorial that they have in the state for registration. We have signs out front on the highways coming in, and that way it gets seen by more visitors. And it's seen by more people. With the information on the cannon, people understand what it was used, where it was used, the type, and all what about it, what kind of cannon it is, and all that. And we're asking to talk to the city, please, could we have it out there to show honor and represent to all veterans? It'd be a big memorial park. It's going to cost us $700,000 to build it. We're going through donations. And big businesses want to help us. It's important to show the public about the past, about the veterans. Not only dying, but come back wounded. They come back where the families had to take care of. No legs, scars. And the people that back here in the offices with the mail and the supplies, everybody had to have. And over here, they back take care of the families. Make sure they got their insurance. Make sure they're being taken care of while the husbands or wives are gone. Every veteran goes through a hardship. Might lose a husband or a wife from divorce because they couldn't handle it. Can't get home to holidays or birthdays or anniversaries. So this memorial that we're doing, we started in 2013, is to show honor to every veteran. That cannon sitting over that tank, that really shows the honor of each war, of the veterans that was in that war. And I would really humbly, if you read the material I got out there to you, that's going to be educational. Like I said, on the cannon also, it could be what about the cannon, where it came from, where that type was used. And we're asking to work with us about the memorial. It's going to be a big memorial. And we really like to have the cannon out there. It belongs to you, the city, not us. We just maintain it, put a fence around it, insurance on it, and make sure it stays well taken care of. And that's all I have to say. I just hope you take that into thought about what we're saying about moving it. If you have to, we can get with each other about moving it, because it costs money to move. Go with the city, you can get with us, we can talk to the county with the memorial to help get it moved. There's people out there that will volunteer to donate machines and stuff to move it. You know, Hugo, we're doing one out there, he volunteered his labor and machines for free. Pete Peters, so we can use all the ground we need out of his Rockport for free. And he said also, he cut us a deal on the concrete and donate $2,500. Also, we have a donation wall there. The city did just that business, but let's use the tank. We can put the city was part of building this memorial to honor the veterans around donation wall. Because you helped us with putting the tank there and work with us to keep this going for our veterans. There's no one more important than our veterans. Not because I'm a veteran, but because I know what they go through. I come from a veteran family. They need the people to be out there, showing them that you have the respect and honor for them. And that kind of would help out a lot. And help out, show a lot, and tell a lot of the history of everything. Thank you.
Questions for Carl? I have one. Carl, what kind of educational factor will be?
Okay, on the memorial, we'll start out with the walls, between the 3D you got. There'd be, of course, the MIAK, POW, the information about all wars, from Revolutionary War, all the way to now, and from future to come. About every war, information about how many died, when it started. And then, also the cannon will be on there, what role it played, in the World War I. It was used in France, this type of style. And it tells you that what size bore it is and where it came from. Same with the tank, used in World War II. It tells where you used that in Germany or in Africa or where they used it. That's where this type of tank was used. They give you the caliber machine guns, the size of the engine. It's going to give us all the information we need so people can come and understand what the veterans went through and the equipment they had, how it worked, and they had to use it, and so they can help understand about each war.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, is there any additional public input? Clyde?
If we wanted to get up here. The request is for the city to authorize the movement of the cannon to the, I guess the back end of the Historical Society grounds where the rest of the honoring of all the county veterans is being worked on. We have the tank out there, we will have the memorial out there. The cannon, if we can move it into O'Connor, into those grounds, it will have a more significance to people than where it is, in my estimation. It's been there for a long time. It was originally apparently at the Triangle here on Main Street and Congress Street. Sometime before 1935, it was moved out to the city park. Now, the Legion has been responsible, although since I've been back, I only recall 2 times that we had occasion to do maintenance on it. I'm not sure if the city has ever done maintenance on it, but then I don't have the records. It could very well be. But we're asking that since the cannon represents the sacrifice of so many people from this area, that it be included in the new reverence to the citizens and the veterans. So please look at it very strongly. Thank you.
Do you think this issue should be referred to Park and Rec or committee?
You should take it to Park and Rec first, because it's at City Park, and then they would make a recommendation to council, and then you would make a recommendation.
Committee of the whole.
Come to committee of the whole.
Okay, any additional public input? Vicky?
Terry Boston, 224 3rd Street. Yes, Mr. Panetti, I would like to speak to you first in regard to the treatment that I received at the October 11th meeting. First of all, I would like to say the involvement and me standing here tonight and the involvement that I chose to take part in isn't something that I wanted to do. However, given the background that I had on this subject and the fact that I was there when everything started, that is why I wanted to bring it to the attention of the council. It is only because of my concern of where this is all going in regard to these harbor prices. Now, on October 11th, because you chose to say to me that even though the information you were bringing forward, you chose to not let me speak again. However, at the beginning of that meeting, you had said there would be a total of 5 minutes that could be used, and I had not used that amount. I know I didn't. Secondly, I understand from meetings previous, you did let other people, other citizens speak again, even though they hadn't, even though they spoke previous, you let them speak again. However, you wouldn't let me do that. You wouldn't let me respond to what the information you were giving to the council. And that's why I'm here back again. And the fact that you would say to me that you had had enough, simply because I have been trying to give information to the council, which I believe is relevant, for you to actually say you had enough, I would like to remind you as an elected person, that this isn't about you. This is not about you. This is about what the very best interests of the people of the city of Oconto. And that is simply why I am here and why I will speak to all of you again and bring forth information that I believe is relevant to this decision that you made. And with the hope, again, it's only the hope of that I want the very best interests of the people to be served here. I am bringing you this information based on the experience as mayor and also the experience that I have with customer service. I have been involved in customer service since I was 8 years old, actually, working in my father's grocery store. Customer service is a very different business than selling cruiser boats or machine parts. Very different business. You're serving, you are working with people one-on-one. And it's a very different experience than most other things. And it's something that should be done very, very carefully. Because once you upset a customer, very likely they will not come back. That's all I'm going to say tonight.
Okay, do we have any additional public input? Clyde?
I just have a question. Is what we brought up is any further action required of us to be here? Are you going to do something about it one way or the other? Should we leave and let you go about with your business or what?
Clyde, what will happen is we'll refer this to the Park and Rec Committee. They'll discuss it and they'll come back to us at a future meeting. But we will make no judgment tonight.
Okay, then we'll get out of your hair.
Just hold on, Jeremy?
I think it'd be good if they've got a contact, just let them know when that meeting is, and that way you guys can show up to that Park and Rec meeting. And voice your same opinion you did tonight, so at least they have all the information in front of them.
I bring one more thing about Park and Rec. I've been there to them once. And we explained the same thing in the layout that we gave you. they told us first that, it's privately owned, which I know it's not. And they said, well, there's some people, out that way that they talked to that, didn't want to move. I said, okay, have you talked to everybody in town? Have you talked to the community? They didn't answer. So I said, well, I'll go around and talk to the people and take a petition about it. They said, no, they don't need to do that. Well, I've been going around since that meeting, talking to everybody. And I go all over O'Connell, even out of O'Connell. And, everybody I've talked to, that's a great idea, where it should be at. It would be seen more. There's people in O'Connell, been out there, saw it once, that's about it. They don't even go out there to that part. So I have talked to people around a lot. There was just that meeting last year. And, people said it's a great, great idea. It should be there.
Steve?
I appreciate you guys coming out and talking about this tonight. I am personally on that Park and Rec board. I wasn't on there the last time this was brought forward to us, but I will personally make sure that this is highly talked about at our next Park and Rec meeting. And try to see what we can do to get this moving forward, so that comes spring or whenever you're ready, hopefully we can make this happen.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Let us know when the board meets.
Park and Rec.
We can figure that.
You need a second.
Potentially December 7th. That's it. But we'll mail you an agenda to this contact. So you know for sure.
Outfitting Carl, Pearl Harbor.
Thank y'all, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Moving on, number 8, approval of consent agenda. And 8, accounts payable for the month of October 2022 in the amount of $200,197.86. Payroll for the month of October 2022 in the amount of $152,876.67. And other financial reports as presented.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. But I appreciate the thought. A lot of things need to go to jail for, but
Okay, item B, approval of increase in annual grass cutting charge from $100 an hour to $150 an hour. Item C, approval of an ordinance regarding revisions to the health and sanitary ordinance in the municipal code of ordinances for the city of Ocala, section 8.3-13, refuge containers in residential districts. Item D, approval of an ordinance regarding revisions to the public works ordinance in the municipal code of ordinances for the city of Ocala, section 649, removal of trees and stumps. Item number 9.
Stop there. Take a motion.
John, motion. Jeannie, second.
Rich Mulver.
Aye.
Steve Stock.
Aye.
John McCobb. Patsy Bay. Jean Cook.
Okay, item number 9, discussion, action, recommendation of following. Increase in health insurance plan
deductible.
Brittany?
So last time we talked about the health insurance plan deductible, we talked about how we would raise it to 3,000 single, 6,000 family, with the option of employees being able to take the 1,000 single, 2,000 family plan at a higher cost to them. I did the numbers on what it would cost them additionally to have that plan, and it's not reasonable. It's way too high. I'm gonna strongly suggest that we only increase to the 1,000, 2,000 deductible. I think jumping to 3,000, 6,000 from the 250, 500 we currently have is insane. I think it's too high of a jump, and I've been thinking about it since we left that meeting. It is like really bothering me. So that's,
Did you say 1,000 to 2,000? I thought it was 1,000, 3,000.
it's, right now we're at 250 single, 500 family.
Okay,
The next one is 1,000 single, 2,000 family. What we landed on last time was 3,000 single, 6,000 family.
and as far as numbers go for that, I mean, what would the average cost go up for, like, if they decide, if they decided to keep that 1,000, 2,000 that we originally looked at, what would it cost, like, one of the workers to pay? You know, versus the 3,000, 6,000, because you said they would have to compensate for the, how much would they have to compensate, I guess? You know, per family, you know, like, I guess is what I'm looking at.
Okay, I can go get that sheet. I made it.
I just kind
printed
of
it out. It's
curious
sitting
as
on my desk.
to, you know, what the cost would be to them. I mean, we're giving them a 2% raise, and you're gonna slap them with a 5% increase on their, insurance premiums, I guess, I don't know.
I can tell you it's significantly higher than the 2%
Is it?
increase they're getting.
But just going with Prevea versus Bellin will still save us money.
A ton.
Okay.
We're still saving money going up, obviously, from 1,000,
Right.
3,000
Okay.
deductible. So that's still saving us more money. We're saving a ton on all these insurance changes. But
And it's in this.
that's what's
current number.
currently in the budget is the 1,000.
Okay.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I would agree with Brittany. I would agree with our library director too. You know, just looking, and then we talked about it at last council meeting, you know, when you talk about the morale of employees too, you gotta make sure that that's not detrimental to your department. You know, when you're looking at all those costs involved, you know, even when you go open deductibles, we have a lot of younger employees that have large families. And even let's say if you went to a $6,000 deductible, you know, a lot of them have a lot of doctor visits. And when you take $6,000, I mean, that's $500 a month right there. You're taking from an employee just to meet that deductible. And to do that, I mean, what does a 2% give them? I mean, really, that's a slap in the face to the employee. And again, we have good employees right now. You know, sure, is there always a couple odd ducks? Sure, there is, but for the most part, we've got some really good employees and we want to retain them. So that's all I gotta say.
John?
I talked to Brittany before, I stopped and talked at the marketplace over here on Main Street, and she thinks that you should go to the marketplace, and you could get individual plans and individual deductible, and it'd be a lot less money. But it's running out of time. Oh, it's something that I think you should look at. Talk to her, have her come and talk to maybe the department heads, maybe get a little bit of what's going on. Otherwise, if you're back at Bellin, is what you're saying now, you're Bellin, you're Bellin. And if you're Prevea, you're Prevea. So if you're at Bellin now, and you switch to Prevea, you've got to all find a new doctor.
But we've already made that, you guys already made that change already by going to the new plan. The old plan was you could use Bellin, you could use Prevea, and now you can't. It's strictly, the new plan that you've got now is just strictly Prevea. So you're already restricting your employees already with the new plan, right, by just going to Prevea, which is, to me, is fine. I mean, to me, a doctor is a doctor. I try to stay away from a doctor. Yeah, personally, you've already made a new change if they don't use somebody from Prevea.
But by marketplace, you could probably get the doctor that, you know, stay where you're at or wherever. You don't have, you ain't the Prevea, or you need just the one they're around. Go to any.
Well, we did We did go to Marketplace, and that's how we did get these astronomical savings by switching to Purveyor, because we did go back to Marketplace. But as the employer, we have to pick one company. We can't offer Network Health and Purveyor, and,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, we can't do that.
I understand that, but I think she can do that.
If they elected to not take city insurance and took their own insurance, they could do that. And they certainly can do that now. But it's gonna be a much higher cost to them.
Not according to her.
Well, then they can go talk to her, but the city can only offer one. We can offer different plans in Purveyor, like we can offer them the 3,000, the 1,250, and we can pay, the 90% of each of those. We can make that decision. That would cost us more, but
Isn't the Marketplace just offered to people that don't have opportunity for insurance at their employment? No.
She has companies that have 280 employees.
Because I mean, if that's the case, our employees of the city would be foolish not to go to the Marketplace and take the buyout for their $4,800 a year for a family, because I know what I pay because I get Marketplace insurance. And that's what I'm saying. I don't get it. How could you?
I can't, I have Thompson insurance.
Right.
I can't go on Marketplace.
That's what I thought.
I don't know.
Your employer offers. Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought if your employer offers it, you can't. I don't think you can get Marketplace insurance. I really don't.
This is to replace employee insurance.
I know that, but what I'm saying is if your employee offers you insurance, I don't believe you can go to Marketplace insurance.
But this is not,
well,
the employee not offering insurance.
yeah, if we are considered a large company, but we have to offer health insurance legally. We have to. So we just try to offer the best health insurance that we can afford.
I still think we should listen to her.
I'm open. I'll listen to anyone that can teach me something, definitely.
Is Marketplace a broker for different
It ain't
insurance?
market, it's something else, they ain't called Marketplace.
No, I don't.
I feel like a bunch of different plans like CCHP, Children's Community Network, whatever it is, and they offer you like a bunch of different areas, like, you can go to silver, gold, bronze, whatever it is. Unfortunately, that's why I get my insurance through, because I'm self-employed. And, my rates are nowhere near what the rates are, But, and I don't know if that's because I'm self-employed or what, but, because I claim enough income on my taxes.
We've been with Network Health for 7 years. And every year it's increasing about 7, 8, 10% each year. Last year I had come in right at the squeaky end of the year where we only had a week to make that decision. And she's like, I think you'd be okay, just staying with Network Health. We don't have time to switch anywhere else. So this year, let's go to market, let's bid out and see who can offer us the lowest rate. And that's how we came up with it.
So you're at Purveyor right now, that's where.
Well, it's not official. I didn't
No,
sign the paperwork, but that's where we're going, yeah.
if I ever come down to, will you talk to her?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just think, they didn't call Market, it's called something else.
Main Street,
Huh?
Main Street Insurance.
Huh?
It's called Main Street Insurance.
Yeah, the one on Main Street.
Yeah, I'm here all day tomorrow.
I'll talk to her.
I just want to add something too, Brittany. Dr. Trussell is leaving Purveyor. I don't know if anybody knew that or not. Yeah, he's leaving. So they're gonna have 2 nurse practitioners there.
I haven't been to the doctor in,
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how
And
long.
they're coming up and they call me and tell me. And
My mom goes there. My mom goes to doctor.
yeah.
Well, anyway, I did like to, I guess,
Yeah,
get all options. I mean, I think it would help these guys, is what I'm looking at, help these guys. Because what I'm getting, what you're saying, is that they're offering, like, $3,000 plan, you can go just one deductible, I mean.
Well, we can offer the most, what we were talking about last time when we were talking about going up to 3,000, 6,000 plan, I talked to McClone, who handles our insurance, and she said you can offer multiple plans. We could offer 3,000, 1,000, and 250 and contribute the same amount for each plan. And then the employee would cover that extra cost. And that sounded great. I was like, yeah, heck yeah, that sounds great. The employees can still pick the lower deductible. But when I crunched the numbers on what that would cost them, it was not a reasonable amount that employees could pay.
They'd have to pay the difference, but we would have to.
Right, right. And it would be too high for them. I mean, employees.
What are the numbers?
I can go get them there on my desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Huh? I don't think it's all marketplace. This would be, it would take, it would, right. Right. And the city would, oh no, that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm saying, instead of them offering a data or,
They could go down and
they would have, no, listen. Main Street would come down here, yes. Aurora, whoever. And then your policy would go off from there. It'd be the same as what it is, it'd just be different.
So you mean each individual employee could choose their plan?
Pretty much out of it, if you go.
Well, the problem is, Brittany and I, we crunched those numbers. And what the extra that they would have to pay, you were paying more than you would gain on the deductible type.
Well, we're talking different. You have to get her down here. I think it would save them guys a lot of money.
Well, if they could go to provide their money to, I mean, that'd be a no-brainer for, you know, if they could go to Donald per day, I mean, their premiums are, you know, fall out.
But I don't know that we're gonna get away with that, because then the city has to not provide health insurance.
You would be providing it through whatever the company, however. You'd have to get her down there.
I think we're speculating, I think we just have to get it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna meet our contracts with police and fire, that's the only.
So if we go with the 3,000, 6,000, and the employee wants to take the 1,000, it would cost them each paycheck for single an additional $40. For family, $120 a paycheck. And in addition to the cost, so it would cost them $215 per paycheck for family.
So where the city's cost is gonna stay the same regardless which one they draw, right?
If we choose that plan. But going with the 3,000, 6,000 deductible, this number that's on your, right now it's, the taxes are going up $97, I believe.
Yeah.
If we change, they're going, it's only a $7 savings, so they'd only be going up 89. So I mean, for that savings, is it worth it to you guys to go up to the 6,000 and do that to our employees? I really don't think so.
Not for $7.
Not for that.
I mean, it's not.
It was $30 would be a different story if you hear more, you know. Unfortunately, insurance is a big thing, we have to deal with it, so figure out what we gotta do, I mean.
So we don't have to pass it tonight anyhow.
We do, yes. They actually wanted me to sign the paperwork this morning to send over, and I said, can you please wait till after the meeting and I can send it over?
So you're thinking we should stick to the 1,000, 3,000?
1,000, 2,000.
1,000, 2,000.
But the city's portion is the same regardless of either one.
If we decide to do it that way.
Well, it shouldn't be when the city pays more for him than it does for her.
Oh, no, it's the same 90% for every employee.
Yeah. it's the
You
same.
can't discriminate.
Yeah,
That is
that's-
illegal. Yeah, we
If
would,
he's got $1,000 deductible and she's got a $2,000, their plan's gonna be a little cheaper.
right.
Well, single versus family, right?
Individual
Yeah. Yeah, single versus family.
and her family.
Yeah, we still pay them, pay 90%.
Right, they're charged,
So it's not the same
They
amount,
give
but
them
it's
10%.
90%.
The 1,000 is for a single and the 2,000.
I understand that, but we're paying more for one than we are for the other.
No.
No, we are.
I guess I'm confused with it.
He's saying that 90% of a family plan is more than 90% of a single.
Oh,
That's
of
right.
course, but.
Well, yeah, that is right. That's just the way it is, right? There's nothing you can do about that, right?
No, it's been that way forever.
Yeah, there's nothing you can,
County does the same thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Every
County
county
does the same thing.
I agree with that.
As a, what do you think would be a better option?
I'd like to wait and listen to see what she says.
Well, we gotta make
Really
this
don't think
decision
that's-
tonight.
Yeah, I
Unfortunately,
don't,
your budget has to be brought over to the county tomorrow. We have to have it.
I definitely would still like to meet with her, we can, I mean, next year we can relook at it.
I was just gonna say that, that's something we could address next year.
Yeah,
I mean, being it's brought up tonight, we gotta get this done, so.
Motion to approve of the insurance at 1,000, 2,000. I don't see. Motion to approve the, insurance rate, the health insurance plan deductible at 1,000 for individual, 2,000 for family.
Second. All second.
Which,
Second. All in favor?
I'll do a roll call. Rich Melber,
Aye.
Steve Stock,
aye.
John Wickoff,
Aye.
Betsy Lee, Gene Phillips.
I with a roll.
Acceptable.
Well, I agree with Jeremy, we don't wanna be losing employees, so.
We're already really putting them through big.
We are, you know, it's hard to get help nowadays, we haven't been through it. We sure don't want to risk losing people over, you know, as much you can get help. He'll tell you how hard it is to get help right here.
Anybody looking for a job?
Okay, 9B, increase of property and liability insurance deductible.
After our meeting, I sent an email out to McClellan for our property and liability insurance. And he said, yep, absolutely, I can give you a quote on higher numbers. But the person who does the underwriting, who can get to those numbers, is on vacation. So they couldn't give me any concrete numbers, but obviously it's gonna save us money. So I adjusted the numbers that were in the budget to make them close to what they were this year without bringing them down too low, because obviously if we keep them a little bit higher, we're safe. And then it gives us a little wiggle room in the budget, because we don't have any wiggle room in the budget right now. If there's any emergencies, if there's any retirements, we don't have that in here to be able to swing that. So I think they're really close to what they're actually gonna be based on what I'm projecting, but I don't have any concrete numbers until he gets back to me. I think it's a very safe number. I think it's lower.
It's just the money's in the budget.
Right.
Did you tell them 5,000 or 10,000?
I told them to give me a couple options.
Okay.
Because again, when you don't budget for enough money in the equipment repair, you need a lower deductible. Because when accidents do happen, you can't afford that high deductible because you didn't budget enough for it. So it's kind of a fine line of how much you want to raise it, but I told them just give me a bunch of options.
Oh, I was just thinking property, not like vehicles and equipment, machinery. I was just
Well, it's
thinking.
kind of a group thing.
It is, okay, because I was
Same
just thinking,
company.
I didn't know it was just, okay.
Yeah.
Because I have separate riders on some of my policies.
They are separate, but it's the
Separate
same
riders,
company.
but, right.
Mhm.
So if I have $5,000 deductible on my house, I might have a separate rider on something else.
Mhm.
You know, whether it's funds or whatever.
Yeah, I told them throw it all the information at me so that we can make
Okay.
the best.
And I understand if equipment breaks or something, yeah, definitely, so, or to get something happen. Right.
I don't think you have to make a motion on that. I think we can wait to do that when we have numbers, but we can still approve the budget without approving that.
Moving on, 9C, resolution adopting 2023 budget and tax levy. Brittany?
Okay, so you have the new numbers in front of you. That resolution, it's a lot to look at, but it's what we legally have to post. So it has all the numbers on there. And then I also have the little colored sheet that you've been looking at the whole budget process with where the budget's at right now. Oh, first let me adjust the debt service. So I got a call back from Stevenson on that $500,000 loan. The yearly payment was going to be quite a bit higher than I had originally anticipated. It's $49,080 that will owe the whole year if we take a 15-year loan. But he said there's no penalties in paying it off sooner. So if we take that large year loan, it gives us a smaller payment for next year. But then in 2024, we can levy more to pay that more of it or all of it off, however we want to decide to do that. Otherwise, it's going to be another $49,080 next year as well. But that gives us some control over how much we want to levy and how quickly we want to pay that off. So with all,
Is that 49,000, is that including more than just the interest?
on the 500,000.
Yeah.
Yes, yep, it's principal and interest, and it's mostly principal. They break it out evenly throughout the life of the loan. So with all that, with that change, and then the property and liability coming down, I adjusted some of the life insurance numbers to be a little more accurate. $97.16 per $100,000 home is what the increase would be.
What would be?
$97.16.
Help me out since I was not here last Tuesday. So on $526,000, for how many years the city just paid the interest on that loan?
Do you want to explain that, because you asked that question?
I want that.
Why we just paid
Was
interest and not
8 or 10
principal?
years?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured how, Jeff explained that, because I asked that same question why we were paying, what we paid, was it 5 years or 6 years, and only paid on the interest and paid nothing on the principal. And basically said that was just the way, that's just the way it was structured. Why it was structured that way, I don't know. I didn't structure it that way in our utility, but that's the way it was structured.
8 years, and I think his explanation was there was other debt that we were paying on and trying to control how much debt was paid each year, and so they went interest only on that one. I don't know if that was a good idea, but.
Well, the other thing is that, you know, that those TIF districts were supposed to be taking care of a good portion of those, and they never met the amounts that basically, let's just say if they were supposed to bring in $500,000, they might have only brought in $250,000, and now there was no money to pay back when they did come due. That makes sense?
And yeah, that TIF district out there, we all kind of know, it was 8 years before the first thing even got developed there.
Because, yeah,
And
because-
now it's much better, but
They
it's
put an
taken a
estimate,
while.
but they put an estimate when they did those, I wasn't part of that, but they put estimates together of how much that TIF district would contribute when it was full or whatever it was deep, was a lot higher than what it did. And then by not getting to that point, there was no money available to pay off that loan. And I think that's what it was designed for, is that when that principal payment came due, there was supposed to be money in that TIF, and there was no money available in that TIF because it didn't meet what they thought it was going to. So I think in the future, when you're putting those TIF districts together, be careful the number you put together. Don't stretch it out thinking you're going to bring this much in, but realistically, you're going to bring in $500,000 less or whatever it's going to be. And I think that's what got them in trouble in the past.
So is that what caught, is the failure the TIP district number 4?
It's a couple things. I don't think it's just that, but that is,
That's the majority, it's a good portion of it, though.
Did we reach out to the Department of Revenue on that, Jeff Blanchi was talking about that we're, might be entitled to some money?
yeah, we're working on
Are we
that.
working on that?
We don't have any concrete
Okay,
answers yet.
okay,
And
okay.
I'm also working on.
Because that has to do with TIP 4, right? That,
Yes.
right, okay.
Yeah.
So if we could recuperate some of that money, that would be huge for us.
The other thing too,
Mayor wasn't here for that.
yeah. TIP 4 out there does have development in it now with the
Right.
apartments and everything else, and so, it should be able in the future to pay this back to the city. That's gonna take some time. In the meantime, you can't just wait on that debt.
No, okay. I have one more question. So this $49,080, Brittany, is that in the budget then for, this column over here? Are we budgeting
Yeah.
at 49,000?
Along, it's in the debt service, that's
Okay.
774,675.
It's in with that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the only question I have. Thank you.
And I have one more question. Why? Won't be brought up later on that, borrowing that money. Isn't that the reason it went from 525 up to 700 and something? Because we didn't pay that last year?
No, it only went up partial, if we would have put that full 500,000
It
in
was a
there,
million, yep, I remember that.
that was a different amount though. If we put that full 500 in, it would have been 1,525,000. That's just, we have 4 open,
The reason I'm asking that because Jeremy's gotta get paid back yet this year, correct?
yep, and the bank will give us that amount before the end of the year.
So what I'm getting at is, we're gonna have that 700 and some thousand again next year, the year after, the year after? Or are we gonna be back to our 500?
No. We have 4 open. We have 4 general obligation debts that we owe for, and all 4 of them have large principal payments due for the remainder of their life now. There's, it's a nice spreadsheet. Not seeing it. So,
The reason I asked when this first started, they put that, it was 500 and something then because of last year. We added that on and it went up to that 1 million or whatever it was. Then, Lonnie there spread it out for us, so it knocked it down to that 700 and something.
yeah,
774.
So,
but that,
um,
the payment for that 500,000 that we borrowed from the bank, that payment was not included in there yet because the bank was getting me those numbers.
in other words, we only got that, but now we got another
49,000.
payment for 500,000.
But we're not paying the 500,000 at one time, we're only paying 49,000 of that 500,000.
It's another 500,000 we're in the hole. Well, yeah.
Well, we were always in the hole, we always owed it. It's not new debt, it was always owed.
It's just now you're gonna be paying the principal portion of it rather than just the debt portion of it. Or, right? Before you were paying just to make a debt payment, now you're gonna, in the future, you're gonna be making the debt and the principal.
Correct. At 5.5%.
The other thing that you gotta remember though,
Interest for
on the tax rate, and that was something that Longie was kind of explaining. Okay, so next year, in a perfect world, if your operating budget was exactly the same number and your debt number is that 775 again, that's a 0 increase in tax rate. Right? It'd be the same, your taxes wouldn't be an increase. So now that you've gotten the debt there, you can keep it there, yeah, and that's what he was talking about.
Well, we're adding another 500,000.
No, we're adding 49,000.
49,000.
For how many years? 15 years, so you're adding $500,000 for that,
No, it's debt we already had.
In a way,
right?
Kicking it
You're
down.
kicking it down.
It's just
we
kicking
should
it
have
down.
levied for it last year. We did not get levied for it. That's why it's pushed into this year. Why did it not get levied for? We cannot answer that question.
I don't know, it just seems to me we're getting further along.
But we gotta pay Jeremy's utility back. You don't have.
I understand that, I do, that I understand.
Jeannie?
I thought Jeff also did a good job of explaining to everyone how you need to operate. In a world where we're not all wealthy, we have to take out mortgages for things. And that's how we need to look at our debt services. It's got that D word in it that makes us uncomfortable. But in order to maintain an operating budget, your operating budget can only be so much. You have to be able to levy for the things that you need. And I think Jeremy does a great job of understanding what he needs to put in his budget so that we can bond for those things. You shouldn't have money in your back pocket to pay for big projects, ever. Those are the projects you need to finance. You cannot pay for them all in one fell swoop. So the way I understood it, we really could be levying for $1 million every year. It should be. Otherwise, we will be in trouble. And those, but we're not going to do that. That's, I think, part of the reason we didn't do it last year, if I remember correctly. And part of the reason we knocked it down from $1 million to the 774 to make it more manageable. But it's how you pay for things in a municipality. May not be how you pay for things in a private business, but it's how municipalities run and keep water clean and people safe. So that was my understanding from what Jeff was trying to explain to us, how debt services work. It was very, I think.
Jeremy?
Yeah, that's exactly what Jeff said, but the other thing is that, even for myself as a department head, the rest of the department heads are here right now, but, obviously we have to be better in our operations throughout the year because it hurts our capital accounts at the end of the year, and we obviously that hurt last year. I mean, personally, my department, we lost, close to $200,000 in capital project fund money because there wasn't enough in the budget to put there in basically the general fund to put that money back in there. No fault of mine, but because other departments were running over, that money got pulled out. And I think moving forward, and I know we talked about it, is that if I'm gonna be over in my budget at the end of the year, let's say I'm over $50,000, then I have no good reason why I'm over 50,000, that should come out of my capital account. I should lose that, but I'll just use fire, I'm just using, for example, I'm not picking on fire, I'm just saying, if they're over $100,000, then that should come out of their capital funds, not my capital fund, because I didn't create that debt.
I agree.
And then it keeps everybody at least accountable for what they're doing throughout the year.
That is an excellent point, and that's how it should be. And you should be able to, we need to get the department heads where they can save money in their capital accounts for emergencies that happen. This year, I understand that we don't have, we have some in Jeremy's, but no one else has any capital accounts because it's such a jump with this new debt. I understand that this year, but next year we need to look at allowing them to put some money in there to start to save, to have that account in emergencies or when they go over their budget to take that, to absorb that.
Well put.
So how did we go from A+ rating down to an A- then? Evidently, we must be too far in debt. Otherwise, our rate would have been better.
You actually were at an A-, you brought it up to an A-. Right? I correct on that?
You
You're right.
used to
I
be an
think
A
we were at
plus.
an A, when
We
I,
were at an A plus before, you're right.
when I first came in here, we were at an A minus with a negative outlook. And after our rating meeting, it went from an A minus stable outlook, so it did increase.
But
And it's not just the debt. It's the spending, it's the budget, it's being in a deficit. It's, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. And obviously they acknowledged the work that we're putting into it and the strides that we are taking because it did increase. So they see that we're doing better things, but it just is gonna take, it's gonna take some time.
Yeah, but great, because you need to get it back to that A plus rating, because the next time you have to refinance or rebond, you don't want to be at an A plus rating or it's going to kill your rating.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to want to buy your bond. Your existing bond.
I think what's frustrating on my part is you can't, in my mind, you can't keep sustaining and absorbing more debt. Next year, we're gonna absorb another 525,000 in debt because we paid the interest on for how many years? I mean, that's ludicrous. And you wouldn't do that in your own personal finances. But we asked the citizens of O'Connell to absorb this. And I look at it this way. The city's 153 years old. And we're broke. That's an insult to me. But we try, the way we phrase it, turn around that, well, that's the way municipalities operate. I disagree with that. I mean, what are you gonna do in 5 years? Pick up more debt so we can keep going? I mean, the only way that I can see out of this is we need more taxpayers. We need more taxpayers to grow, to offset this. You need more revenue. I mean, that's the answer to this. You've got to come up with more revenue. Jeremy?
I wouldn't disagree with you. I think that even this budget that you set, you're making that stride too, that, you know, you look at just what you're doing with recycling. And you're 70-some thousand in debt with recycling, and you're gonna be getting out of that that's gonna be directly paid back to the general fund of that money that you're in the hole. I mean, in the future, you know, again, that's money that's being budgeted that you can offset wages into there. So I think you're making steps in the right direction. They're probably not the big steps that you want, but I think this is the first time I've seen us going in the right direction, not the wrong direction, you know? But I get you. I mean, it's frustrating, but again, when you look at that debt, we weren't part of those TIF districts. We weren't part of setting that up. Unfortunately, we have to deal with it, and we have to figure out a way to pay it. But again, in the future, when you're looking at these new TIF districts they are setting up, be careful how you set them up, because, you know, anybody that comes in, a developer, an engineer, they want to make that TIF district look as great as possible. This is what it's going to bring in. We have to sit back and say, oh, no, it's probably not going to bring that in, you know?
They're doing what's best for their interests.
Well, absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
We gotta be careful with those TIF districts,
Yeah.
like you said, 100%. Brittany?
I just wanted to say, I agree with what you're saying. It's very frustrating that now we have to increase taxes, but no one here made that decision. We're just trying to fix it. No, you shouldn't just pay interest and then pay all the principal on 4 loans. That is ludicrous. That is poor planning. But none of us made that plan. And you're not gonna fix it in 1 year.
Right.
You're not gonna fix it in 2 years. But we are making huge strides in the right direction. And that's all you can do. And I think we're doing a good job at it.
Well, the other part that when we're going to do the reevaluation would be what, another year?
2024.
That should be some relief there. But it's not going to make the citizens very happy. there. When's the last time we evaluated 14 years ago?
Don't know off the top of my head.
Some good points are made. We have to, those are the cards that are dealt with to us, and we need to address them. Okay.
Need to make a motion for the offer?
I need a motion of resolution adopting the 2023 budget and tax levy.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second. By Butch.
Rich Melber,
Aye.
Steve Stock,
Aye.
John Wickoff.
Aye.
Gene Felton.
Aye.
I'm not happy for it. Our backs are against the wall, unfortunately.
Item,
There's an addendum.
The D.
I understand we got to do something with it.
That would be-
okay, on the other sheet, item number 9, discussion, action, recommendation, the following approval of resolution authorizing $500,000 loan by the city of O'Connell, O'Connell County, Wisconsin, from Stevenson National Bank and Trust.
This is what we just talked about, but, talking with the bank, why it's been tweaked down here so quick, the bank said we need to, for their records, approve this resolution. We don't have a choice. We have to pay Jeremy back, but we need to approve a resolution.
I'll leave that.
You know he's training that today.
Jeremy, utility department.
I'm gonna give you $500,000 right now.
Well, I don't believe in my insurance deductible now.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Pay the utility.
Yep. To get their $500 from Los Stevenson National.
Can I get a second? Thank you, Gene.
Any other questions? Says here on, November 22nd that we passed this. I don't remember we passed it.
That's today. Good question, though.
Today.
I thought we talked about this at a prior meeting too.
We have.
We did, but we didn't approve it.
I was thinking of last month.
Oh, he's right, he was right.
This got thrown together as
Today.
the last 24
Yeah,
hours.
today.
All right.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Any additional discussion?
Butch Melber,
Aye.
Steve Stock,
Aye.
John Wickoff,
I
Patsy Page,
Aye.
Gene Felton.
Okay. Item number 10, council may vote at approximately 6:30 to convene the closed session pursuant to the notice duly given and as allowed by Wisconsin statute 19.851E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties for the following items. Bid for city property.
we're going to close session.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.